Hey guys, after this week I had a quick epiphany that through the different lectures I kind of gave a little bit of a different variance each night or each day concerning the lectures. Even though I gave the same exact information, I said it a little bit differently. It came across a little bit differently, and people had different questions concerning the same exact material. So I thought it might actually be a good idea to create a video so that you guys are all on the same page, you're all hearing it the same way, and we all can kind of answer the questions in a similar kind of fashion. Also, too, it saves me time from having to, do the sing-songy dance 3 times. But also, too, helps us cut down on the actual hours that we need to be in the classroom. We can actually cut down our class time from being 3 hours to 2 hours, and you guys can watch the video before you come in, so you can come right in ready to work or have questions about whatever the assignment or quiz items or whatever kind of things are that are in the videos that I'll provide you. So I thought the first video made more sense to kind of recap what we went over this week, because there was a lot, I understand, but I really want to give you guys as much information, one, as possible, but two, also give you as much time as possible to work on your websites as much as you need. So yeah, so there is a lot to kind of go through because we are kind of jam packing 3 classes into 1 class, so that's what we got to do. So first thing would be the difference between HTML and CSS. So HTML, so first thing I would say that you need to do is download Google Chrome. If you guys have not already installed Google Chrome, go ahead and do that. I personally love Google Chrome because it's just way more robust when it comes to attributes for web developers. The biggest one being Firebug. So if you Google Firebug for Chrome, you can just literally go install Firebug. It installs it directly into Google Chrome. It doesn't put anything on your desktop or in your hard drive or anything. It's straight into the program. So it will automatically update itself. You don't have to worry about that. It just automatically puts it in there for you. So Google Chrome, awesome, awesome. So the other thing I love about Google Chrome, if you right click on a website, right there, view page source. This is the web code for the actual website. Really, they have some they have some indenting here, but not a lot. So, like you see, it's kind of all over the place. Like, where are these big gaps for? Who knows? But yeah, it's just not it's not indented very well. But we don't judge. We don't judge. Uh, But CSS is the thing that I really love about websites or web design. It's the thing that kind of takes, because HTML can be, it's very dry. It's a very dry language. It's not very, it's not Spanish or French or anything where it's really, really pretty. HTML is a language that's very much based in math and in logic and in, just very linear idea. So CSS takes that linear idea and makes it very pretty. So the CSS end garden shows you, if you actually look at it, the littering the dark and dreary road of the lay the past relics of browser-specific tags. Like I showed you all in each class, the content is exactly the same in every single web page. Nothing is changing to the HTML code except the CSS. So I really love this. I think this is amazing. I think it flows into the idea, because I very much think that web coding is very zen, because whatever you do, you have to counterbalance. So like, for instance, if you're to open a style tag, you got to close the style tag. I think it's actually just good, a good habit to get into. As soon as you open a tag, close the tag. So as soon as you open the wrapper div, just automatically go to the bottom and close the wrapper div and give yourself a comment. This closes the wrapper div, so you know what's going on. Because like I said, a lot of times when you start getting into websites, I mean, this is just the template for my website. This is not, there is no content. This is just the website of this. There's not a lot there. But it can get, even when things aren't working, you start having to look through lines and lines of code. It does get pretty daunting. So I made sure to kind of line everything up really pretty, of like UL and everything goes underneath there. That one's slightly off. Sorry about that. It's not perfect. So, but yeah, like I try to line them up really clean for, so that it's easier for myself. It just saves myself time, energy, all that kind of good stuff. So I know the big thing for you guys is going to be kind of learning the language, like I say, of the syntax of the language, because it is. It's there's a lot of things that you won't know and you can't know. You have to, you'd have to memorize them. But the last 2 pages in your HTML CSS, it's the very last page is CSS properties, but the second to last page is your HTML elements and your HTML attributes. These are going to be your friends for quite a while. These are the default calls within HTML. So, and the same thing with CSS. Those are the default ones that will automatically populate with Dreamweaver. So keep your HTML CSS textbook handy because it's a lovely thing. It'll be a great resource for you. So we've already went through the different menu items, this being indent, that being outdent. You can also, another thing that I showed a couple people is that if you highlight the text and just push the tab button, it will indent your content the same way, and that's just me doing Control Z, the same way that if you do the indent code with the menu. So there's multiple ways that you can do it. Obviously Dreamweaver being very user friendly and telling you like, oh, so you want to insert an image? Just insert an image if you want to, straight in there. So this has been defined to my site, full of all the pictures for my website, so I can just navigate to it quickly and easily. I also showed you guys how to do that hover image of insert objects, image play, or rollover image. We did all that kind of good stuff. So the other one that I just wanted to kind of run by you guys is naming syntax and how to use code. Now, HTML in its own language doesn't have many capitals. So when you're typing things through, when you're making say a paragraph, for instance, don't use a capital P, just use a lowercase p, because it actually might kind of end up screwing up your site. Sometimes some of the syntaxes are based in capitals, but 99% of the code that's out there is based in lowercase. So all of your actual coding in which you put into Dreamweaver, use all lowercase. When it comes to the syntax of naming your files or naming your images, camel case or lowercase is the best way to go. Camel case, if you want to use it, is, I mean, think of like a camel of up, down, up, down, up, down. So you're separating the words with a capital. So cat, image of cat, cat with an image with a capital I. I personally use underscores. So cat underscore image. The other way you can go is cat dot or dash image. One thing that you don't want to do is cat dot image dot JPEG, because according to the browser is reading image as a file type. So it might actually not pull in your image at all, because it's trying to find out what kind of file is image. I don't know what that is. So but also this could also prove to be issue of, to say, like if you had a cat document, so cat, say category document, dot JPEG, like, because you're trying to keep it short, the browser is going to see this as a Word doc, not a JPEG. So it might pull it in weird, it might not pull in it at all. So just a general rule, stick to these naming conventions and use lowercase in a generality when you're dealing with web. So this applies both to your file name, so like if you were to save a website, notice unlimited too, it's a dash. Singular words, or your camel case, or your all lowercase. So use your underscores, use your dashes, or use your camel case, even in the naming of your HTML files, on top of your images. So making sure that everything's kind of in the same naming syntax. I also would encourage you guys, of whatever syntax that you decide, to keep that as your thing. If you decide I'm gonna be a camel case person, stay camel case for the entire site. Up, down, top to bottom, all the way through. This would also go for your the definition of your IDs and your classes. So like we did in our styles. Let me go over here. So see, this one's lowercase. This is actually a default to Dreamweaver Clear Float. That's a default one through HTML, but see corkboard underscore wrapper, corkboard underscore top, corkboard underscore middle, corkboard underscore bottom. Like, I kept it, that's my thing. I'm personally, like I said before, I'm personally an underscore person, so I just keep everything kind of the same. So same thing too, if you notice, images, corkboard underscore top dot ping. See, so if you start, once you commit to your naming convention, it makes it a whole lot easier. I know that, the corkboard top ping goes in the corkboard top div. It's really easy just to start plugging and playing and, knowing where things go and live. So like, so looking on page 21 and 22 of your HTML and CSS, that's like a perfect idea of kind of looking through your website first and kind of calling out those IDs, or those divisions of where you want your site to live, all the different elements and how they'll kind of flow in your site. So yeah, I'm not going to go over the assignment that we already did because we already did it, but so yeah, because you guys already know about Lipsum, we talked about that. So in the case, so Lipsum being a lorem ipsum generator, just whenever you need it, you can use this for anything. It's not just this class, you can use that for anything. But yeah, so we discussed HTML tags, headings, paragraphs, lists, unordered lists, and ordered lists. We discussed how to insert a link. So making sure, the big one that I would talk to you guys about is when you're inserting a link, if you actually just go ahead and highlight any kind of content right here, you can go down into here and you see links. So making sure to go http:// www. whatever the address that you're doing, and making sure to define what kind of target that you're going into. Are you creating a new tab? Are you creating a new window? Or are you putting it inside itself? Obviously, internal web pages of a given website, you want to make sure to keep them inside the website that you have, versus if you have an external, like if we're going to Google, for instance, you would want to make sure to send it outside of your website, because you want to make sure that they can navigate back to your website once they've gotten the information that you're sending them to. So yeah, the other thing too you can look at, I mean, it's all right here, HTTP target of new, that's the link right there, close link tab, it's right there for you. Oh, one last thing, when it comes to your workspace, sometimes the functionality, I know a lot of you guys are working off of the trial version of Dreamweaver, but if you actually own your own version, sometimes the window can kind of get messed up, or like the order can change in different ways. What I like to do every single time when I come in is go to Window and go to Workspace Layout. It's checked as Designer, but what I do is I go ahead and put Reset Designer. So that puts it back to the factory kind of attributes, the different file types that are there. Because sometimes also too, especially if you're on campus, people will move around the folders and the functionalities. So just kind of giving yourself a clean palette to work with so that all the buttons are in the same place each time. If you ever wanted to, you can kind of create your own, and it says that if new workspace or manage workspace, so you just go new workspace, arrange the items the way that you want to. We'll call this TM, and say if I wanted to move it all around, then I'd save it and then it'd be done. But that's a little, like I say, that's a little bit ways down the line. But if you find that when you're looking for things or things aren't working the way that you want them to, try to go ahead and reset back to Designer so that you can find those attributes, like the Properties tab that's here. So yeah, so coming up with the next week, our reading is the HTML book, CSS, chapters 10 through 16, and then the classroom book, it's chapters 3 through 5, and then chapter 7, chapter 8. So that's chapter 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So the next video or a couple videos will be the lecture based on that content. So I will also post that to Facebook so that you guys have it. So I'll see you all Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday.